This is Algebra 1, Semester 1. It's the first unit called Equations, and it is the 8th lesson called Absolute Value Equations. It's on creatormath.com under the Algebra 1 tab. You might have to Google creatormath.weebly.com to find the site. The instructions are copy the following problems into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents with the notes for those pages from creatormath.com. So it says, what is the symbol for absolute value? So what are our options here? Oh, before we do this, sorry, I forgot to show you this. Let's do my normal pattern here. So it says you need the notes for these pages. Let's go there. Here's the website name, creatormath.weebly.com. Type that into Google. You should get to this homepage. Any questions you have on the composition book, scroll down till you see the large print that says composition book. And there's a picture. Please watch all the videos, follow all the due dates, and follow all the instructions of what to put where, and you should have a 90 to 100% on your composition book. Now we're going to go to the Algebra 1 tab, because that's where all the video lessons, the problem sets, the notes, and of course the vocabulary are. So the vocabulary here says Vocabulary Algebra 1 Practice Study PDF. This PDF has all the vocabulary for the entire school year on it. Please download it to your device. And if you don't know how to search it, then Google how to search a PDF with the device you're using. The instructions are a little bit different for each device. You should have 100% on all of your vocabulary practice because you can just look up the words in that PDF if you need to. All right, now we're going to scroll to the proper semester, and we're looking at the table of contents. This table of contents should have been copied in full onto pages 2 through 6 of your composition book. If you haven't done that already, please stop and do it now. Of course, there's videos on how to number the pages of your comp book, and there are videos of great comp book examples back on the home page. We're going to scroll to the unit. This is the first unit here called Equations. There looks like a lot of lessons. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're on this one, Absolute Value Equations. Here are the page numbers on which these notes go in your comp book. Please don't use this video to determine those pages, but go to the original table of contents. At the time that you are viewing this, it is most likely that these page numbers will have changed. Here's the link to the notes. Here's the link to the problem set we're going to do, and the link to the video solution should be here by the time you get there. So we're going to click Notes just to show you how to open those. It does take a couple times for me sometimes. There it goes. It cleared up the first time. This expands. You're going to copy all of these notes into your composition book, right, on the correct pages. And it's just talking about what are the symbols for absolute value. Here's the vertical bars. The absolute value of 5 is 5. The absolute value of negative 5 is 5. Why? Because the absolute value definition is the distance between the number and 0 on the number line. So if you're looking at a number line, what's the distance between negative 5 and 0? 5. And what's the distance between positive 5 and 0? 5. So that's why absolute value always comes out positive. Students sometimes learn sort of a makeshift definition of absolute value that says the absolute value of a number is always positive. Well, that's true, but it's because the definition is the distance of that number from 0 on the number line, which is always a positive number. Distance cannot be negative. Negative is actually a direction. So if you think back to physics where there's a direction and a magnitude of a vector, the magnitude is the number, the direction is the negative. So if you just want to know the magnitude, how far is a negative 5 from 0? Well, it's 5. And it's got to be positive because there is no such thing as a negative distance. Try to go a negative distance, and what you'll really be doing is going backwards, which is where the negative is showing you the direction. All right, here's an example of what to do with an absolute value, a little bit more complicated. Please copy those into your comp book. So there's some samples. Absolute value is the distance from 0 to the number on the number line. All right, fair enough. And we're going to try some of the problems here. What is the symbol for absolute value? Let's go ahead and do this one. What is the symbol for absolute value? Well, it's 2 vertical bars. Right, so, you could have vertical bar 6. This is the absolute value of 6. What does that equal to? 6. What's the absolute value of a negative 6? It is positive 6. Always positive because it is the distance on a number line of 6 from 0. So that's got to be a positive value. What is the definition of absolute value? It's the distance from 0 on a number line. Okay, so for example, absolute value of 6, how far is negative 6? Or absolute value of negative 6, how far is negative 6 from 0 on a number line? And if you just had a 0 and a negative 6, we would see that this distance here has to be 6. So absolute value is always a positive number because negative is a direction, not a part of magnitude. Which of the following is the absolute value of x? So this one. We can have the absolute value of x. Given negative 4, what does the negative mean? So in this case, direction, right? So if we have a number line, and this way is positive numbers, positive, right? To the right is positive. We know to the left here is negative. So if we have a 4, for example, and it's listed as positive, that means go to the right 4. But if you have a negative 4, that means go to the left 4 because negative is a direction, in this case left. So direction to the left on a horizontal number line. Solve the equation 7x equals 28. Well, what we're really considering here is two options for this, right? We're considering a 7x equals 28. But this could also be negative in there. So we're also considering a negative 7x equals 28. Well, let's solve both. So divide by 7, divide by 7, right? So this disappears. X equals 28 divided by 7 is 4. But what if it's negative? Negative 7, right? This would be x equals negative 4. So really what you're getting is two answers here. You're getting x equals a plus minus 4. It could be plus 4 or minus 4. It could be either of those. And if you graph this out on a number line, here's 0, here's negative 4, and here's 4, it's a solid dot because this value, there's two values possible, 4 and negative 4. So we're going to circle x equals plus minus 4, which means a plus 4 and a minus 4, two separate answers. Right? So we're going to kind of go through this and maybe think of this way. If we had an x over 2 equals 4 without the absolute value, wouldn't we multiply both sides by 2 and get x equals 8? Right? But now we still have an absolute value. This could be a positive 8 or a negative 8. Okay, so I'd like to see this as an 8 here. All right? So plus minus 8. It could be a positive 8. X could equal a positive 8, or x could equal a negative 8. We don't know which, so we have to list two answers. Okay? So same thing here. We could have that this is 7x minus 13 equals 1. But also we could have a negative setup here, right? We could have a negative 7x plus 13 equals 1. And maybe an easier way to see that would be a negative 7x minus 13 would equal 1. By the time we multiply through by negative, we get a negative 7x here. There we go. We get a negative 7x here and a positive 13 here. Well, let's solve both. So let's add 13 to both sides. 7x equals 14, divide by 7, x equals 2, right? If this had an absolute value, wouldn't this be plus minus 2? Yes. So, just out of curiosity, let's see here. So we're going to go with this answer here, plus minus 2, all right? And let's go ahead and skip this. Let's move to the next one. 9x minus 8 equals 37. If we add 8 to both sides, we get 45 equals 9x, divide by 9, x equals 5. So, but if we had an absolute value, this could be plus minus 5, right? So we could have this one here.